Welcome back to Exhaust Noise, everybody. Tonight's show is presented by Team MCC, JL Insurance, AMSOIL, and Two Brothers Roundhouse. I'm Kenny Abbott, and tonight we're breaking down everything from Detroit Supercross before we look ahead to the St. Louis East-West Showdown. Welcome back to Exhaust Noise on CVN. Detroit delivered chaos, comebacks, crashes, and a championship shakeup in both classes. Ken Roczen put on a masterclass. Hunter Lawrence hit the deck. And the 250 East Division saw Cole Davies extend his lead with another statement ride. Now these series, both East and West, roll into St. Louis for another East-West showdown where both coasts collide again. Deegan versus Davies. Tomac is under pressure, and Roczen is surging ahead. So the Dome at America's Center is about to get loud. So let's bring the noise. Speaking of making noise, let's welcome in our guest tonight. He's an MX star from St. Louis area in Southern Illinois with a motocross industry DNA, which we'll talk about in just a second. But please give it up for Mr. Colton Pursleys, everybody.
Sir, thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. They can find you at C Pursley 43 and talk about what you're doing down there, Colton. We'll talk about your DNA here in a little bit, but you ride motocross and you come from a motorcycle family, and talk about what you're doing down there and currently what your race program looks like.
Yeah, so right now I'm just trying to get as much riding in as possible. I mean, there's nothing better than seat time. I love hitting the gym, but there's only so much that the gym can do. Once you just got to keep riding. So that's main priority for sure. I really want to try to get back out to south of the border. Those are my guys down there in South Carolina. Those guys they're something else. They're really cool. I went down there and Matt Bisciglia was training, and he was the guy running the show. I think he's out in Moto Bros now, but that's definitely on the agenda. And then that and work, privateer life, you know what I mean? You gotta keep working.
Yes, sir. Race on Sunday, go back to work on Monday.
Yep.
Yeah, and you're talking. We're in. You said you work in the family business. Your family has a shades business. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a real blessing, I gotta say. I mean, having something that's so reliable, you can always fall back on. They love it. They love motorcycles. Obviously, it's the family. This is just what they do, and it's not. A lot of people don't come across jobs that'll be as lenient as they are with me. So obviously that is just a real blessing. And then obviously work hard, get paid, all that good stuff. And that and
what's the name of the business before we move on too far? What's the name of the business down there? So if anybody in the Southern Illinois, St. Louis area is looking for shades for their house, where can they find you guys?
Overland Shade Co. We got Instagram, Overland Shade. You can find us on Facebook. We're doing workout in Lake of the Ozarks now. So if anyone's out there,
oh wow,
we're ready.
Yeah, that area is growing out there too. I bet you guys market a little bit out there, and I'm sure it's on the side of the motorcycle too. So I saw a bunch of we're gonna bring up a photo real quick. I mean, obviously you're riding a Yamaha in this photo. I saw a lot of red in your Instagram as well. So are you kind of going back and forth cross brands, or what? What are you riding these days?
So the Honda, that was more of me following my dad's footsteps. He's a big Honda guy, and we were kind of just riding that for a while. And Hondas are a great bike. You can't go wrong with a Honda. They're really reliable. And me and my dad were just talking one day. We were in the van. We were out doing jobs, and he was like, "I think I'm gonna get a Yamaha." I was like,
okay.
Really? I was like, really? That's not like you. I mean, dude, ever since I was born, that's all I remember is him riding Honda, and he just switches up. I'm like, whoa. And then I was like, I think I'll get a Yamaha too. Might as well see how it is. And then I got the Yamaha right before I started racing pro. Like right whenever I got my pro, I think my last race for my pro points, I was racing the Yamaha out at HLR, which is a track out in Missouri. And before that, I was just Honda all the way through and through.
Now let's talk about your dad a little bit. Your dad, when I met your dad first, well, first I met your mom, Natalie, and so I was running a national road race program, and the first year in 2000, Natalie we went to Southern California. Natalie was one of the umbrella girls that showed up for us to, present trophies on the podium and do umbrellas on the grid and take photos with fans and all that kind of stuff. And to brag on your mom a little bit, she was so outstanding in just talking to people and personality. And her nickname is Nat Joy, right? Because she just brings so much joy, I think, to everybody's life. And she was just smiling. And she rode motorcycles, which was totally different than what a lot of umbrella girls' experience would be. And she was really outstanding. And we're like, well, do you want to come to the next round? We'll bring you to the next round. And then you can sort of manage all my umbrella girls and be an umbrella girl, which sounds really demeaning in a way, like, oh, she's just an umbrella girl. But they draw so much attention and so much media and photos and everything else that if that person who's that outgoing is able to, make a difference in the lives of the fans that day, it kind of changes a lot of things. And then of course, just the all the photography and everything else that comes out of it. And after a couple rounds, I was like, why don't you just come to all the races and you can just sort of be in charge of all the umbrella girls and you can pick who we have and you can recruit them and everything else and you can train them. And like, that's just your thing. And I'll just pay you to come to the races and do that. And she was like, yeah, okay. And then the end of the year, we were doing this is where it gets really funny. We were doing at the end of the year, the massive AIM Expo used to be in Indianapolis. And that was, for those that don't know, it was a massive, massive motorcycle industry show. And it was really just industry. It wasn't fans and spectators, everything else. It was just industry. And we were going there and I had people ask me, hey, do you have anybody that can do autographs at our booth? So I had racers in the Formula USA National Road Race Series that were going to do autographs at different sponsor booths and stuff like that. But Natalie had an Orion helmet. So, I was like, do you want our umbrella girl to do autographs too? I'll print up some autograph stock for her. So she's sitting at the Suzuki manufacturer booth at the AIM Expo next to Kevin Schwantz, road race legend, and Jason Pridmore, two-time national champ road race legend. And Natalie's line is longer than both of theirs combined to do autographs. And she loves telling that story because it was a paradigm shift. And everyone's like, who's this chick? Like signing autographs. Like we don't even know who she is. And her line is out the door, and next to next to world champion Kevin Schwantz. It was hilarious. So anyway, so she's signing autographs, and then she has to be at another booth, and so we're like, oh, sorry, Natalie has to leave, and everyone's like, whoa, what? Like, you can't leave. She's the anchor of the whole booth. So anyway, she was just phenomenal, and her and I worked together for about 4 years. Then I started running the Michael Jordan Motorsports Superbike team. And I kind of brought her with, and you're like, hey, can you still help me recruit and use umbrella girls and stuff like that. And so anyway, your mom and I had a great relationship. So she introduced me to your dad, and he was a flat track mechanic. Right. And so I thought I remembered him being a mechanic for a Suzuki team, right? Or was it Honda back then also?
I don't know. I know he was more into the racing end of the things. Like he was big flat track, big racing supermoto. That was his big thing, was supermoto.
Yeah, right.
And from what I remember, obviously I wasn't here for it, but just the things he showed me a lot of videos and pictures from back in the day whenever he did do that. And he was pretty solid at it. I mean, I tried to find videos of people sliding like him back in the day, and I couldn't do it. So
Well, and your mom used to race the supermoto stuff too. I think that's where they met, right? Was your mom and dad met racing supermoto at like, Sears Point, which is now like what, Infineon Raceway or whatever up there in Sonoma. Right. Yeah. And she was doing motocross, and then she got into doing all kinds of PR work for Arai helmets and all kinds of other brands and stuff like that. But yeah, but then I knew your dad from just being at the flat tracks a lot, flat tracks and supermoto and that sort of thing. And then, so obviously, and that was West Coast. You guys were based on the West Coast for a while. Did you ever live on the West Coast, or were you always there in Southern Illinois?
I mean, I always remember being out here. So
Gotcha.
So I lived in St. Louis actually from whenever I can remember, like 1, 2 years old, all the way up to 5th grade. So about 11, 12 area. And then we moved out here to Southern Illinois, and it was the biggest switch ever. Like, it was insane.
Yeah.
It went from me not really, my dad didn't really want me to, I mean, I don't blame him. Like, it wasn't the best area ever. It wasn't like super ghetto, but I mean, it wasn't like,
it may not be the best place to raise a family.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. So it went from, not really leaving the house all that much unless we're going riding or doing something. But to be fair, we got a pretty good sized property just because the shop's on it, and it's just got this big open area. We actually had a motocross track. My dad built one in the back, and it was a pretty solid sized. It wasn't like a big one. It was kind of the size of an arena cross track. Yeah, but it was something for sure.
Which is still massive for most
yeah,
homes,
I mean,
right?
you can't. Yeah, if you go out to St. Louis, there's a very low chance you're going to find a motocross track in the backyard. I will say
and
that.
Until you're 15, 16 years old, riding a full size 250, 450, you don't really need more than that, do you?
No, not really. But that was kind of, I rode on that a lot on the Cobras, like the little 50 juniors.
Yeah.
And then I remember 5th grade ended, and then we moved out here to this house, which is my stepmom's house, Lana. And it was just the biggest switch. It went from not really going outside all that much to that's all I'm doing. Like, I'm going down the road. Like, I'm taking pit bikes everywhere. I'm doing whatever I please, essentially. It was like I just got free. It was insane.
Turned into don't come in until the street lights are on. Right? Yeah. So you started riding really young then. You started riding on the 50, 4th grade, 5th grade, elementary school. And so how old are you now?
I'm 19.
19. Yeah. So out of school, and you're making motocross somewhat of a profession, or trying to, right? So you're doing like all the arena cross races and stuff then?
I haven't hit an arena cross in a while. I haven't been to one recently. I really want to start doing one just because I want to get that type of experience, because it is definitely in the long term that I do want to try Supercross at some point. Obviously you got to get your own points for that, so I'd have to go to like Mini-O's and do the Supercross thing there, which I'm not opposed to. I love Mini-O's. I haven't been there in a while, but every single time I go, it's a great time.
And you're not too far from Loretta's.
Yeah, I mean, the drive out to Tennessee is not, that's not one that I'm against at all. So yeah,
talk about that photo.
That's one of my favorite photos right there.
Incredible.
Yeah, that's out at Redbud. That was my
pro
debut. Yep, that's my pro debut. That was the first. I think that was the second qualifying session.
Yeah, that's a cool track too. I rode so one of my previous jobs, I used to work with all the Supercross, arena cross guys here in Chicago, and the day after Redbud, they would have the track, and so they would actually reserve the track, and we would all go out and ride Redbud the day after the nationals.
Yeah.
So, doing some autographs here. Is that Redbud as well?
That's Redbud. I think so. The only one that wasn't actually at Redbud in that little 4-picture collage, that was the one where it just says 43. I got the yellow gear on. That one, that was the coolest moment, where I got to sign that kid's helmet, just because I wasn't expecting it. I was just there, just riding, and then I remember I wasn't really expecting anything out of, qualifying or the LCQ. I was kind of just there to get the feeling.
Yeah.
And experience. I didn't, and I obviously I didn't do all that great, but I was just walking around, came to the pits, and this kid just came up with his helmet and just asked me if I could sign it. I was like, yeah, absolutely, I can sign it. Are you kidding me?
That's fun, isn't it?
Oh, it's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's the best is when you have no expectations of that. And the fun thing is, chances are, he was new to the sport and he's just walking around and everybody's a superstar to him, right?
Right, yeah. And I mean, I
And
can remember being his age going out to Ironman or St. Louis Supercross, and every single time I'd see one of them. Actually, so there's a shop, the shop that sponsors me, actually, Donaldson Cycles. Back whenever I was around 5 or 6 years old, after St. Louis Supercross, they would have not all the riders, but a lot of the riders show up at the shop, and then they do autographs.
It's great.
And I remember Chad Reed, James Stewart, a lot of the big names, and it was insane. At first, whenever that was all going on, I was kind of like, this is cool. It's not them though. There's no way they wouldn't come all the way down.
Why would they do that?
Yeah, like why would they do that? It was definitely them. Come to find out, so and that was just super cool getting to meet all of them. And because we didn't really go to the pro pits that much, and then I think that was the main reason we didn't go to the pro pits. My dad was like, "Why would we go to the pro pits? We can just go to Donaldson's after."
Right. Yeah.
He's like, "I'm not spending all that money." I don't blame him.
Yeah. So let's jump into some of the Supercross stuff. Last weekend was Detroit Supercross, and then the weekend coming up tomorrow is St. Louis Supercross. You said you have some friends that are going to be, racing maybe in the Supercross tomorrow night.
Yep. So I got a buddy of mine, Devin Milkovich. He owns a team, Twisted Team, and he's got Riley Ripper racing for him. So that's super cool to see. I'm gonna go out there and show up in the pits, give them some motivation, see what they can do. I mean, they've been working hard. They work hard a lot, especially in the GT Arena Cross stuff, because that's the main stuff that they do. They always put on a solid performance, and obviously the bikes look great. They got Race Tech Titanium and 428 Concepts behind them, so they got a lot of good guys. Themselves, they're spectacular people. And then Carter Stevenson out there with LSR Kawasaki. He's an acquaintance. I haven't talked to him in a hot minute, but super cool guy, really nice guy. He does a lot of training out at there's this track. He kind of does like all of Missouri. That's what he does. Like he trains out like kids and just people who are just wanting to get better. I saw him out at this local track in Missouri called Sweeney's. That's a pretty cool track. And that's kind of what he does mainly, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Riley Ripper, they show him out of Magnolia, Texas on a Husqvarna.
Yep.
250, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
How's that Husky running? Not a lot of those in the class.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really tried a Husky or a KTM. I'd like to, but if I were to ride one, I think I'd want to ride a 350 just to see what it's like. I always hear everyone, they're just raving about it. I almost wish Yamaha would make one. I'd get it for sure.
That KTM looks mean this year, doesn't it?
Oh,
have you spent much time on the 450s?
Oh yeah, 450. So this upcoming season, I'm doing just 450.
Nice.
I'm not a big. I always did 250 just because I felt like that's where I am. I'm young. I got all this stuff going for me. I should try the 250 class. That's where all the young talent is. And then, I get the stock Yamaha, and it's like it feels great, but it feels pretty slow at the same time. So I'm just like, all right, let's dump some money into the engine. Let's dump some money into suspension. This, that, and I mean, it stacked up pretty quick. And I was just like, I don't think I want to do that. I can't lie. So I was thinking about it. I was like, is this why I want to do it? I just want to keep dumping money into my 250 and just, trying. And then my dad, he's got the YZ450 that he said he was buying. Like, this is the reason I got a Yamaha. And he was like, you want to try the 450? I was like, yeah, I'd love to. I tried it, and it was just amazing. Like, I was able to like work my lines a lot more, stand deeper, because on the Yamaha 250, I almost felt like it was always, balls to the wall, clutch everywhere, just trying to get as much speed as possible. And then on the 450, I felt like I could be more creative with my line choice, try different things. So I'm gonna try that. And obviously, you know, you don't have to dump a bunch of money into a motor to try to make it competitive. So
Is it a faster crowd though? I mean,
it
because
is a
obviously like
faster crowd, but I'm up for the challenge. I work hard. You know, I know that
yeah,
I'm up. Like obviously, it's a
yeah,
pro setting. This is like the best people that you could possibly pick. So I mean, it's
yeah.
not easy ever. But you know, I've been working. I've been in the gym. I've been riding. I've been working on my technique. I've been doing this, that. I've been, you know, planning it all out. And I know it's all a matter of time before I really start to step up because um in 2023 at the start of the year I was still racing 250C, and then mid-year 250B, and then by the end of the year I was racing A class, and then 2024 I was doing the pro-ams, and then 2025 was my debut at Redbud. So I made a pretty quick stride right there,
Yeah.
trying to prove to myself that I can get fast and I can do really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, I've kind of just been using that. I just like, well, I know I can do it. It's only if I do it. And, you know, I'm doing it. So
Funny story, when those Yamaha 450 four strokes first came out, I worked for Dunlop tires, and we were doing a test or something in Atlanta where Scott Russell was from. And Scott Russell wasn't too far from there. And we went out to his place after the test, and he had the new 450. He had, I think, two of the new 450s, or he had at least one.
yeah.
And this guy, Brian Gibbs, who was a racer, he raced for Hooters back in the day and all kinds of other stuff. And he had just gotten, he broke both of his wrists at a road race, at a superbike race. And he just got the casts off, and he gets a hold of Scotty's 450, brand new Yamaha 450. Like it literally came out of the box like 2 weeks earlier. Right. And he jumps on the thing, rips up over a jump, loops it, wrecked the bike, broke both arms again, so we had to call the ambulance. But, as soon as he loops it, we're all kind of standing there, and Scott Russell in his, typical super deep Georgia accent goes, "Well, that didn't take long, now did it?" Like, that was just it. And we all just like kind of busted out laughing. We're like, damn. And so like right out of the box, and he couldn't even ride it anymore. It twisted the front end and broke some stuff off the back. I mean, he launched it off this big ass double, and I mean, you know what they look like at the end, but it wasn't good at all. So Supercross is coming up. Let's talk about the 250 guys. Cole Davies has just been killing it on the East Coast. Is there anybody on the East Coast that can catch Cole Davies at this point?
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, Cole he's like the only person that whenever you think of someone who can beat Deegan, you kind of just gravitate towards Davies, really.
And he's the only one that's quote unquote beat Deegan, but Deegan was disqualified, or not disqualified, but he was penalized. I mean, he clearly won the race on the track, and then was penalized for cutting the track. He was penalized one position, which pushed Davies up there. So you got Cole Davies on the Monster Energy Star Racing Yamaha, Seth Haymaker on the Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki, and Joe Shimoda. Shimoda's been doing well on the Honda. Yeah. I think it's kind of cool that you got three manufacturers up there. Cody Schock on another Yamaha, Miller on a privateer Kawasaki did good at Detroit. Maybe he's coming for a win this weekend.
Yeah, I think if you think about like people who can beat Davies, I think Joe Shimoda would definitely be one of the first in the conversation. Joe and Seth, obviously, just because of the front runners, but I mean, it's going to take a lot because Cole, especially with the whoop speed, you can't. He's obviously on a different level in the whoops. I mean,
he's got that rhythm, doesn't he?
He does. He's kind of got a James Stewart flow through him. I like it.
I was thinking that exactly. Yeah, I was exactly thinking James Stewart just skips across the top. We're like, oh, shit.
I'm talking about whoops. Those Detroit whoops were taking names. So I mean,
a lot of injuries.
On that? Yeah,
a lot of injuries after Detroit.
I know. Yeah, I know. Dudney crashed. I know Thrasher. I'm pretty sure he crashed in the whoops. I think a lot of Yamahas, especially.
I actually have a crash report here somewhere. Somewhere is a crash report. So 250 injury report. Pierce Brown, broken collarbone, dislocated wrist. Jalek Swole, Achilles. Michael Mosiman, broken arm and dislocated elbow. Cameron McAdoo, broken humerus. Drew Adams, broken thumb. Casey Cochran, out for St. Louis, no listed injury. Austin Faulkner, broken hand. Mitchell Odenberg, concussion and a broken arm. Holy crap. I mean, this might be your weekend to enter the 250 class.
Yeah. I mean, you got no competition. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. But
I mean that's 25% of the field right there. So.
Pretty much. I mean, it's Supercross is gnarly. You can't really, obviously there's going to be injuries, but I mean, in Supercross, it's going to be a lot more than motocross just because it is so, just got to be perfect every single time. As soon as you lose focus or you mess something up, you're most likely breaking something.
The point standings in the 250 class is pretty interesting. Cole Davies is leading 114 points. Seth Hamaker is only has 105, so he's only like 9 points back. It's not a lot. If Davies has any problem whatsoever or gets into a fight with somebody and goes down or gets taken out, that championship could change quickly. And Joe Shimoda has 100 points, so he's only 5 points back from Hamaker, 14 points back from Davies. Joe Shimoda could come out of St. Louis with a championship lead if something happens to the first two.
Yeah, and that's something I'd love to see. I really like Joe. I really like, he's just got a good atmosphere to him. He's just
quiet,
a super cool guy. Yeah,
quiet, humble.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of guys in the 250 class who are pretty loud, especially the West Coast guys. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So after Detroit, Davies extended his points lead with another good ride. Haymaker is consistent, keeping the pressure on. Shimoda trending upwards. That was his best ride of the season, finishing third. Pierce Brown is out. We mentioned that. Cochran is out. Just a lot of crashes back there, mostly as you mentioned in that rhythm section. So that was pretty brutal. So let's look at before we look at the 450 class, got a couple sponsor bites here real quick. Tonight's show fueled by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics, trusted by racers, riders, and engine builders everywhere. And Two Brothers Roundhouse in Aurora, Illinois. Great food, great drinks, and the perfect place to watch races with your crew. So let's look at the 450 main event. Ken Roczen on that Suzuki. Man, we've been waiting for that. I mean, Roczen has been right there all year. He had one or two crashes, but man, when he won big.
Yeah, I mean, Ken Roczen, that dude, that's my personal favorite right there. If someone were to ask me, who's your favorite rider of all time, it's Ken Roczen. I mean,
Ken Roczen.
You can't argue with it. I mean, him and Eli Tomac, those are the two people who I really looked up to whenever I was young, like a little kid watching Supercross. Whenever James Stewart and Chad Reed was doing all that, that was pretty much like right at the end.
Yeah.
And then,
Tomac's riding your KTM.
Yeah. And I mean, I'd love to see Tomac win another championship for sure. But I mean, at the same time, I would not hate a Ken Roczen one either.
What do you think about Tomac at Daytona?
Man, I can't say I was shocked. I was more
right.
I was like just excited. I was just super happy. I mean, obviously everyone was kind of wanting him to win. I mean, 8 wins is ridiculous.
It's nuts.
So it was just insane.
And the funny thing is, sorry to interrupt. The funny thing is you get guys like Tomac where second, third crash, he's like right there, and then come to Daytona and he's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go win it. And just runs away. You're like how does that?
Right. That's what kind of hit me. I was like,
so
you win a race now, and it said Daytona. I love it. You know what I mean? And I actually wasn't able to watch. I wasn't able to watch that when I was kind of keeping up on Instagram because they'd post the highlights. Sometimes
Yeah.
something happens, they'll
Yeah.
just throw it out there, like, look what happened. And I
Yeah.
just remember I was looking at him. I was like, cool, cool, cool. And then I went back to what I was doing, checked back, and it said that he won. I was like, well, wouldn't you know it? That's just wild.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And but like you said, Roczen's been right there. He's been pretty solid. I think if it weren't for he had like one big crash, I forget which round now, like one of the early rounds, he had a big crash and it kind of shuffled him back to like 10th or 15th or something like that. And that was really what beat him up on points. He's third in points, but if it wasn't for that, he'd be right there with Tomac Lawrence for the points chase. I mean, there's only 4 points separating Tomac and Lawrence, and only 10 points back to Roczen from Lawrence. So it's pretty close. But so let's run down the top 10 from the 450 class in Detroit. It was Roczen on the Suzuki, Sexton on the Kawasaki, and then Malcolm Stewart. Been waiting for him to do something all year.
Yeah.
So finally he does something on the Husqvarna. Justin Cooper on the Star Racing Yamaha was 4th. Eli Tomac off the podium. Red Bull KTM was 5th. Cooper Webb on the Yamaha. I was surprised to see him that far back in 6th. Ferrandis on the Ducati bumps up to 7th. That's one of his better finishes of the year. Justin Hill on the KTM. Savatny on the Phoenix Racing Honda. And 10th was Marchbanks on the Pro Circuit Kawasaki. Any of those surprise you?
Not too much. Ferrandis was a cool one to see, just because he's on the Ducati. He was on that Phoenix Honda team.
Yeah.
I was glad to see him back on a factory team because that dude was he was a monster back
that Ducati. That Ducati is so cool.
It's so cool. It's such a neat bike.
If you guys haven't seen this Ducati 450, it's got the Desmo motor in it. It's pretty trick. A lot of people, when they walk up and they start looking at the KTM Supercross bikes, you're like, oh man, like it's got this and it's got that and it's got all the trick stuff on it. Yep, so's the Duck. That thing is crazy. I was just at might have been sometime this week. I was at a Ducati KTM Triumph shop, and they had the 450 there, and I was looking through it again, and we did a big dealer show about a month ago from there where they showed it off, and the Ducati rep was there and everything, and everyone's just just like drooling over that thing, and it's pretty cool. So it's cool to see Ferrandis doing well on it because they're still developing it. And he's top 10 in points, I think. Nope, he fell back out of the points. He was up in the top 10 in points for a couple weeks, but now he's out. So point standings: Eli Tomac, 229 on the KTM. Hunter Lawrence still right there. So Lawrence loses the lead in the championship on the Honda, so he's now 2nd. Ken Roczen up to 3rd with 215. So only 14 points separate 1st from 3rd. That's a cool championship. That's going to be insane coming out of St. Louis. Cooper Webb on the Yamaha is 4th. Justin Cooper 5th. And then Sexton, Savatny, Malcolm Stewart bumps up to 8th now on the Husky. And then Jorge Prado on the KTM 9th. Justin Hill on the Privateer KTM 10th. What are your thoughts on Prado? I think a lot of people really expected Prado to be more of a threat at more races. What are your thoughts on Prado so far?
I mean, obviously he's been having a little bit of he's had his moments where he's really shown through, I will say. I mean, he won a heat race, I'm pretty sure. I remember something along those lines.
Yeah, and he got 2 podiums so far, but
yeah, and I mean, those aren't bad stats at all. Obviously, people were kind of expecting him to be a lot more in it just because he kind of had a lot of hype in him whenever he went into Kawasaki, especially off of a championship. And then obviously the thing with Kawasaki kind of fell through really fast. I remember at Budds Creek, whenever he didn't qualify for the motos, but technically he did because he was top 10 in standings. That was, that was something. That was definitely something. But then he hopped on the KTM, and it kind of looked like he was back at home just because that and the gas are so similar.
Yeah.
And that was cool to see, because whenever I was seeing the preseason, videos here and there, he looked a lot better on that KTM than he ever did on the Kawasaki. And that was just like from the first video I saw.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned Budds Creek. That brings back memories. That was my home track growing up, was Budds Creek. I grew up in the DC area, and man, that place is cool. Like like a lot of those outdoor venues, you really don't see the elevation from TV. It does it no justice whatsoever.
Yeah.
But there's so much elevation. It's almost like a Glen Helen. There's so much elevation at Budds Creek. Yeah, it's nuts. And the last time I was there, they raced 500 two-strokes there.
Oh yeah.
And it was crazy. There's a big jump where they kind of come around and they kind of get into this big hill section. And they come around and they hit this jump, and the old 250 two-strokes would like triple to the top of the hill, and get up there. The 250s would double it, jump it, and the 500s would come and just zip all the way to the top. And they're literally, you can see the back wheels locked up. They're, and they would literally go all the way to the top and land the thing, back wheel locked, and then just turn it and get on it, and then jump all the way to the bottom. So it's like to the top of the hill and all the way to the bottom. They're getting so much air, and you're just like, holy shit.
Yeah, and Budds Creek, that's also where Doug Henry, he sent it to the moon and then broke his back off of that.
There's so much elevation there, and the TV just doesn't do it justice at all. There literally isn't even a flat spot there. Even the paddock area you're like on a hill. It's insanity. There's absolutely no flat spot there at all. And whenever I used to go there, it was raining and muddy and disgusting. And so I don't know, but that was a long time ago. So Detroit storylines coming out of Detroit. Roczen dominates. So he had his best ride of the season. Sexton rebounds with some real speed. Malcolm Stewart gets on the podium for Husky. Tomac struggled a little bit. So, maybe some fatigue. Maybe he's getting tired. Hard to tell. Hunter Lawrence crashed, so he lost the red plate. And Prado still sort of adapting. So is what it is. So let's look ahead to this weekend, the 250 East-West Showdown. This is going to be round 12, brings chaos back to St. Louis. And let's see, divisions at the gate again. Last time East-West collided, Hayden Deegan charged from the outside of the top 10 to take the win on the track. And then, as we mentioned, he got a penalty, a post-race penalty. And so he was delegated back to second, which handed the victory to East Coast leader Cole Davies. And then the rivalry's sort of been simmering ever since. So tomorrow night, two coasts meet again inside the Dome at America Center. Tight rhythm sections, deep ruts, and a track that punishes any hesitation whatsoever. So this is where the titles may swing, tempers might flare, and reputations may get made as the 250 class Showdown rolls into St. Louis. Again, Deegan came from way back. Did you see that race where he got a horrible start and just had to come back through the pack? I felt like that race just really showed. I was gonna like, I mean, because he's not a veteran. I mean, he's been riding for a long time, but it just showed a lot of patience for somebody who just understands what it takes to win a championship. Who's the next guy? I'm just going to go get the next guy and the next guy and the next guy. And then like one lap to go, he makes a pass for the win, and it just sits on top of the box again. I mean, the guy's unbelievable.
Yeah, you can't really argue with results and numbers. I mean, the kid is 100% extremely talented. You can dislike him for, how he acts. I mean, obviously, I get it. I mean, it's probably not, the best attitude ever, but I mean, when you're winning championships and races, I mean, you can't argue with it. You know what I mean? He talks a lot, but I mean, he backs it up,
That's the thing too. And I think that, and maybe you can speak to some of it too. at some point, you have to have the confidence that you can just roll into a venue and just dominate everybody. Like that has to be part of the mindset, right?
Yeah.
Like I belong here. I'm the best guy here. I'm going to go prove it. You have to live that lifestyle to a degree.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was doing for pro-ams. Like I would come into a pro-am. I did one out at Muddy Creek, and that's kind of what I came in with, that attitude. I was like, I'm going to win this thing. That's pretty much, I was just kept on repeating. I was like, I'm going to win this thing, even though I knew there was a ton of people there who were very talented and, had a lot more skill. So I just kept that in my head. I was just like, I'm here to win. That's what I'm going to do. And I know that's what my dad would always tell me too. He'd always say, just tell yourself that. And then he heard it from someone. I forgot if it was, I almost want to say it was Jeff Emig that he heard that from, like where he, in the amateur stuff, he would always say, I'm coming in here, I'm going to win. That's just what's going to happen. And then he'd get like 20th. But he would always be like, if I didn't say that, maybe I would have gotten 40th. Maybe I would have gotten dead last. Maybe, this. And, I think that was probably part of it, because I definitely came in with a lot of confidence that I made myself, because I was still in the gym and all that stuff. I was riding a lot, but I knew that, in terms of experience, especially with pro-ams, like just the year before I was in C class, it was uncharted territory by a mile. I was just in a completely different atmosphere, and I just went in. I was just like, I'm gonna win. That's just what's gonna happen. Gotta do it. And then I would get like 20th, but maybe I would have gotten last.
Yeah, I think confidence is massive, and sometimes I think confidence gets misinterpreted as arrogance, and I think that it's important to remember where the confidence is coming from, right? And why the confidence is there. There are road racers and flat trackers and stuff like that roll into an event and they just have that kind of chip on their shoulder, like, I'm the guy to beat. You want to win a race, you're coming through me. Because part of that's also mental to prepare your competition, right? To sort of taunt the competition as well.
Yeah.
Hey, you're like, hey, your bike looks great, but you're coming through me. You're like, if you're going to get to the podium, you're coming through me. Like, and you have to have that confidence that you can do it. And then the true professionals, in my opinion, the true professionals are the ones that can come in with the confidence, but then also have the humility to go, I'm going to do my best, and I'm grateful, and I'm grateful for what I can get, but I know I can win this. I know I'm the guy to beat. You're coming through me. Good luck.
Real quick, I'm gonna turn another one. I just realized how dark it's getting in here.
I was wondering if Dad paid the power bill.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
I don't know if that's any better. I might just turn
it
on
is. That's great. That's great.
I had the windows open, and then of course, time, it just keeps going. So does the sun.
Yep, absolutely. No, it looks great. Now we can see your hair. It's perfect.
Yeah, there we go.
So East versus West, you got Hayden Deegan versus Cole Davies in the 250 class. Max Anstey, who's had a great West Coast series so far, versus Seth Hamaker. Levi Kitchens had a good year too. What do you think of Levi Kitchens out there?
Levi Kitchen, I love the way he rides. I love his style. Like that's got to be the biggest takeaway. Every single time I see him ride, I just love it. It's just, he's just so lean. He's not, because everyone nowadays is trying to be, super plat, which I love. Like that's how I ride. But I like how he hangs off a lot, and then he's just got that raw speed.
It feels to me like Kitchens is just on a steady ascent. Right?
Exactly.
Like he's there. He's not winning races, but he's competitive. He's learning, and sometimes that is, it's rider and team learning how to communicate and make the bike better. Race after race. And understanding how to develop it, and then the bike changes, and I got to figure out how to ride it, and then the bike changes, I got to figure out how to ride it, and then I'm pushing the bike, and what can we do to get the bike to catch up to me sometimes, right? And being able to, I feel like Levi is on that ascension, And, if obviously if Deegan wasn't there, Anstey's has a pretty good hold of everything, but Kitchen and Anstey, I feel, are right there. And I wonder if some of the riders in the 250 West class are just like, okay, Deegan's going to run away with it. We're going to keep developing our bike and developing our team. And so when Deegan goes to 450s or whatever, we're going to be there to take the title.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not get hurt. Let's not break anything.
Yeah, I feel like that's what most of the teams are in now. They kind of know that Deegan is kind of, in his own little space right now, but they know that he's leaving. So, I mean, they're kind of just waiting for their opportunity to grab it. So, and that's why I'm excited. I'm excited to see Deegan and Jet. That's like the main thing that I want to see. There's been a lot of talk. I've seen Jet was on I think it was Gypsy Tales. I saw him on there, and he was giving Deegan a little bit of talk.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, right? I mean, because Deegan's been doing some 450 times on the 250. It'll be interesting to see. But as you know, riding that 450 is totally different than riding the 250. I mean, it's a completely different animal, and some people make the transition and some don't. I'm not saying that Deegan can't make that transition. I think he absolutely can, but it's going to be interesting because it's a whole other world up there.
Yeah, the 450 you got to respect it. You got to treat it like a completely different motorcycle. I know. So whenever I was on Hondas, my dad had a CRF 450. And then he started getting into this. There's like this series around here where they race vintage bikes. So now he has a KX 500 and a KX 250. He doesn't even care about modern bikes anymore. He just races that, which I think is sick.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he's racing vintage bikes, and I get to ride his 450. So.
Have you ridden those two strokes?
Oh man, whenever we first built, so me and my dad, obviously he's the main person who built this 500. So he built this KX 500. And when we bought it, I went to go with him whenever we bought it. And it was all of the stuff, like wheels, every single piece that you can imagine to a
like
KX
the whole
500.
kit. Yeah, the whole
entire bike. The entire bike was in boxes on the garage floor. They were just in like these plastic tubs. And my dad bought it. I forgot how much. It wasn't a lot. And we loaded it into this. We had this like SUV car.
I just think about a label: some assembly required.
Yeah. I mean, to say the least, for sure.
Yeah.
So what we did, we just loaded in. There was probably like 6 of these tubs. We just loaded them in, put wheels, forks, handlebars, all this stuff. And I remember we were leaving, and I forgot how old I was. I think I was like 15, 16, and we were leaving. And I was sitting there, and we're kind of just driving off, and I go, "You sure you're gonna?" I was like, "Are you sure this is like you're gonna build this? Are you 100% positive?" Because he did a whole thing with like a jet ski, and he really liked that. And I was like, "Well, the jet ski was kind of already put together. This thing is 100% assembly required." So he built all that. He got stuff sent off. He got it all working again, and then he built it. And then as soon as he built it, we took it out to the sand track in Missouri called Benton, and it was that was my first time riding like a big bike two-stroke. I didn't even ride 125, so that was my first time on any type of big bike two-stroke, and it was a 500. And I made the mistake of trying to ride it like my bike, like my 250. I was in like second, third gear, just holding it cranked, and I was just like, Jesus, dude, what is like? I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm out there, like I'm getting around the track, but like it is just killing me. And my dad was like, try to ride it like a 450. And I was just like, okay, which I mean, obviously that's what you were supposed to do. But at the time I was like, it's a two-stroke. You got to give it RPMs. And then,
power band.
I started riding it. Like I started respecting it.
People don't understand what a power band is until they ride something like that. And you're like, oh shit, that's a power band.
Yeah, it hits on that bike.
Especially on the 500.
Yeah, it hit like a truck. And I can't imagine if I was just on like a regular, like the sand in that track was super deep. I can't imagine how hard it would hit me if it was just like on a regular track. So that's what he does now. He does all that stuff. And then I get the 450s now. And it's just like, yeah. And it's just riding a completely different motorcycle. I would like do a moto on a 250, a moto on the 450, and I would kind of find myself trying to ride the 450 like a 250 at sometimes, and then I'd also sometimes try to find myself riding a 250 like a 450, where I'd keep it in higher gear, try to stand longer, and it's just like, well, that doesn't work. Like it doesn't, like both ways, it doesn't work. You just have to switch absolutely everything. And it's funny, Deegan, I watched a video of him on the 450, and it doesn't look like he's going to do it. I think he's going to ride the 450 like a 250. And I mean, I think he can. I mean, I've been seeing videos of him do it. And I mean,
yeah,
it doesn't look like he has to change anything. He's just ripping.
He's got a lot of talent. It wouldn't surprise me if the bike he rides most of the time is a 450 anyway.
Yeah.
He almost rides the 250 as though it's a step down for him.
Yeah, like it's a pit bike or something.
Yeah. So like I imagine him on a weekly basis riding the 450s for training and everything else. Is like, yeah, 250 is fine. You know, our 250 works. And then he's just riding the 450 all week training. And then on the weekends, he's just like, yeah, okay, I'll ride the little toy bike. I'll ride the little 250 toy bike. You know?
Yeah, it's wild watching him ride. It really is. And seeing some of the things, and there's, you know, a lot of people on, like, you know, social media. You can't really listen to social media, you know, a lot of the times, because people in comments don't really use their heads. But, you know, you see a lot of things, you know, about the way he acts, and, you know, you kind of expect that. But I've been seeing a lot of stuff about, like, oh, it's daddy's money. And it's just kind of like,
so?
Yeah, it's like, I'm sure there's been plenty of people with money and opportunities that have not been able to even, you know, go pro at any point.
Let's look at, yeah. I mean, let's look at anybody on a pro circuit Kawasaki. I mean, that's not their money. I mean, that's somebody else's money that they're playing with. So, right. You know, and let's be honest. I mean, if we, you know, you look at any of those, let's go back to any of these, you know, let me pull up the teams. You know, Rockstar Husqvarna, you think that's Malcolm Stewart's money? No. I mean, it's somebody else's. I mean, everybody's playing with somebody else's money, with the exception of the true privateers, right? Like you and some of the other guys. I mean, even Joey Savatny, you know, like he's got sponsors, but that's sort of a privateer effort. You know, you get into the pro circuit Kawasaki's and Ducati and Star Racing, Yamaha, Red Bull, KTM. I mean, they're all playing with someone else's money. So, okay. You know, Deegan's using some of his dad's money, but so what? You know,
right. I mean,
what's the difference between that and somebody who?
Money. I mean, like, that's my kid. You know, I got every opportunity to help my child succeed. That's, I mean, you know, who wouldn't do?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, you know, so there's a young kid up here whose father developed a very successful business, and they have a ridiculous double stack rig and a, you know, beautiful toter home and all this stuff, and he's always ridden just really top-notch kick butt stuff. It's like, that's daddy's money. Does it matter whether he finishes 8th or 9th or 1st and 2nd? Who cares? Right. The fact is that Hayden Deegan can jump on a motorcycle and dominate everybody at the highest level in the United States, and if you send him to the Worlds, he's going to kick their ass too. Like, it just What does it matter whose money it was done with? No, it doesn't. Exactly. Because you still got to ride this stinking thing. That's at the end of the day, you still got to ride it. You know, and that's
another thing I'd like to see is him and Kai. I like to see him and Kai DeWolf go at it for sure.
Right.
And it would be interesting to see, because I feel like the only way they'd ever race each other would be at like MX and Nations.
Yeah.
And, you know, at that point, whenever, I don't know how they pick the tracks for MX and Nations, but, you know, if it's on Kai's turf, you know, you can't really argue with that. But like, if it's kind of like something more neutral regarding the two, that's the type of race I'd like to see for sure.
So what's now Feld Motorsports used to be Clear Channel and Live Nation, everything else. But what's now Feld Motorsports, every year in Vegas, we would run the US Open, and the US Open was like an international US Open. So it was motocross, supercross, international, international personalities. Everybody would come over and it was kind of an invitational. It was like, you know, if you finished, you know, a certain amount, it was really sort of an invitational, but you could literally run whatever you want. It was 250s versus 450s versus, you know, whatever. And so whatever bike you thought you could win on, you could run it. No, I mean, there were rules, but it didn't matter what bike you rode. That would be cool to see that race run in today's times with some of the international stars that we have and the 250, 450 guys now, you know, on a, you know, running a tight circuit like that. It's a supercross circuit in Vegas, but even even where they were running it at the Vegas, I forget where they were doing it. It was like it wasn't the Hard Rock, but it was somewhere really small.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was really like a 250 style track, but it was a super tight. I guess the way I should describe it, it was supercross at an arena cross track, right? So smaller track, but all these supercross stars that are used to running indoor, outdoor, everything else. And it was run what you brung, you know, 2-stroke, 4-stroke, 250, 450, doesn't matter. You enter the race and it was like a $500,000 purse or $250,000 purse or something like that. But that would have been kick ass to see all those different things come together. But, so yeah, so we went through that injury report for the 250 class coming into St. Louis. So that's going to be kind of crazy to see who actually shows up to ride, because some of those injuries I don't see them racing this week.
Yeah.
In the 250 class. So 450 point standings coming in. We talked about it. Tomac, Lawrence, Roczen, only 14-point different. And the St. Louis track is pretty specific. I mean, as most of these are. What are some of the things that you remember most about the St. Louis Supercross track?
I remember it being particularly gnarly, for sure. I mean, obviously, if you go to a Supercross race, like in person, you're going to see a lot of things that you don't see on TV. I've seen some pretty wild, I've seen a lot of people crash into, if there's like a bridge jump, I've seen a lot of people hit the bridge, which was, I've seen probably 5 people hit the bridge.
Wow.
Like within the past few years. I also know that Ken Roczen is like very good at St. Louis. It seems like I've seen him win there a lot. And actually, I remember being a little kid, and we went to go see St. Louis Supercross, and I don't know who it was, but Ken Roczen was just about to win, and someone passed him pretty much last lap, last corner. Dude, I was so mad. I was ready to throw something. I don't know how old I was. I was probably like 6. Like I was a young buck, but I was mad.
Besides Daytona, I think St. Louis has one of the larger layouts of the Supercross tracks. And from what they're saying, it's going to have 2 big triples, which, you know, tends to separate the field a little bit, you know, just how quick, how fast you can get through that triple section. 2 long straightaways that cross the start, long rhythm lanes. I think they have more than 1 long rhythm lane there, right? And then it usually gets really deep ruts. So that's kind of what they're saying. So, you know, you got to be on your game, precision, and if you're hesitating, you get punished, is kind of the way that they're laying that out. Aaron Plessinger's out for this round, so he's had that hip issue. Jason Anderson is out indefinitely. Justin Barsha has a fracture in his back. Jet Lawrence has that foot ankle surgery, so he's not riding. So a couple of those guys out. Tomac leading the points. Hunter Lawrence has to rebound here somehow. Lawrence has been pretty impressive, just so consistent. I mean, he's got that win, and then like every other round, just second place, just second.
I mean, if you keep getting second, you're gonna win. I mean, the championship for sure. Because I mean, unless the other guy goes undefeated, you know.
And what it seems like is the 450 guys tend to play nice. The 250 guys, they're like trying to take each other out. So if you can just finish second and stay out of the chaos, you know, get a decent start, right? Get a decent start, stay away from the chaos, and just finish. Cooper Webb, he's got the #1 plate from last year. He's right there. He's 4th place in points coming in. on the Yamaha, he's 12 points back from Roczen. Do you see him getting into the top 3 at all this year?
If someone messes up, like he's definitely there. He's there. He's kind of just. I feel like he's kind of just in waiting. Like he's always gonna put his best foot forward every single weekend, but like he's mainly just waiting for the slip up.
And I think he's got like 1 or 2 podium, and I think that his like 1 or 2 podiums was because other people crashed, and he was because he's been like 4th, 5th, 6th. It seems like all year. He's the first. He's the fastest guy. Behind Tomac, Lawrence, Roczen. And good to see Cooper Webb back up. Getting Cooper Webb has had a pretty decent season as well. Justin Cooper is having a pretty good season. Yeah, so that'll be interesting. So predictions. What are your predictions? East-West showdown in the 250 class. What's your prediction? Who do you see on the podium?
Obviously 1-2 has got to be Deegan and Davies. I mean, that's the safe bet. I feel like it's interchangeable. I feel like either way, it goes either way.
And then is it Hammaker or Anstey?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because Anstey is just, I mean, obviously, he's got a lot of experience. He's just, he knows racecraft, he knows all this stuff. So, I mean, obviously he does have a pretty good hand at, every single moto he gets into. But Hammaker, he's kind of like a silent guy. He doesn't really seem to make too many waves, but I mean, he goes good. He's got good results. So, you can't ever count him out. That's for sure.
I'm going to go on a limb and say 3rd place is going to be Kitchen. I don't know why.
I mean, you can't argue with that. You can't argue. I mean, East-West showdown, this is like, that's where everyone comes out to play. So, I mean.
Yeah, I'm just taking a wild swing at it. I'm gonna throw my energy to Kitchen.
Yeah, I think I think Joe Shimoda's gonna get 3rd.
There you go.
I think he's gonna get 3rd. I'm keeping Deegan and Davies in the 1-2 though.
Absolutely, yeah, you got to do that. So we'll say this. We'll say that Anstey Hammaker are going to come together, take each other out, and they're going to leave it. They're going to leave the final podium position to be fought out by Kitchen and Shimoda. So there you go.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, I'm going to switch it up. I think Riley Ripper and Carter Stevenson are going 1-2.
Hey, there you go. There you go.
I think they're going to – honestly, I think Riley's got a chance for the championship at this point. I mean, dude's talented.
There you go. Give it up for the hometown boys.
Yep. Those are the local boys.
450 class. Who's so big boys. So you think Roczen? I
think Roczen's winning.
Okay.
I think Hunter's going to be second, and I feel like it's going to be a close second because, I mean, he's super smooth and technical, and that track gets super technical.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's obviously going to be front runner. He always is, but at this track especially.
So Roczen, Lawrence, who's your third?
Yeah, and then third, I don't know, because, I mean, I'd like to say the top 3, but I can't just do that. And Tomac was kind of he was a little bit lacking last weekend, but I've seen a lot of people saying that he's washed, he fell off, and it's like he got 5th, not 15th. We can calm down on that for a little bit.
So am I hearing you say Cooper Webb for 3rd?
Yeah, actually, that's exactly where I was getting with it.
There you go. There you go.
I mean,
that's a good bet.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been super consistent with getting in that top 5, especially. So
look, I mean, here's the thing, right? Is Webb's got a number 1 on his back for a reason. I mean, he's defending the national championship. He doesn't suck. The bike is good. The team is good. He's good. It's just Tomac and Roczen are on another level this year, and Hunter Lawrence stepped it up, and just those 3 guys are just riding out of their mind right now. But that being said, Tomac's made a lot of mistakes. Roczen's made a lot of mistakes. Lawrence hasn't, which is why he led the points coming in. I think Lawrence is an easy bet for the podium. I agree. I think Roczen has got St. Louis dialed. Maybe Tomac has some issues and Webb beats him to the podium. Yeah, I think that's a good bet. Yeah, good call. Good call on that. So here's something I always talk about, Colton. Let me know your thoughts on this, and we'll wrap it up. I appreciate you being on here for so long. So talk a little bit about, so you're riding a Yamaha these days. Who are some of your local sponsors down there? Who's helping you out?
So Donaldson Cycles, I was talking about them earlier. Those
Yep.
guys, they help me out a bunch. I mean, they're great people. Everyone down there is just super nice. They help me out in any way they can.
Yep.
Route 15, Route 15 Cycles, a motorcycle shop down in Freeburg. Justin Haas, I mean, him and Chris Kuklitsky, I mean, they're great people, really great people. And, you know, whenever I was really starting to, I don't want to say take things seriously, because I've always wanted to like win, but like whenever I really started putting my best foot forward, especially in, you know, all this stuff, I didn't even have to really say anything. They were just watching, and they just understood that I was in my zone and that I was working hard. And they were like, let me help you out in this way. Let me help you out in that way. And just like all these things.
Love it.
Obviously Overland Shade, they help me out a bunch. They give me, you know, all the leniency I need to go ride and get better.
If you need shades or blinds or anything for your house, and you're in the St. Louis area, or, you know, a couple hours either direction, make sure you get a hold of Colton Pursley, and he'll let you dial in with the blinds for your house.
Yep. I mean, dude, we're the best. I mean, St. Louis, I mean, in general, there's not a lot of people who do like shades and blinds and all that stuff. And, you know, we're good at it. So
there you go. There you go. What gear are you wearing now? What are you wearing for a lid? What gear are you wearing? What's protecting you these days?
So I've been really into the canvas gear. Really into the I got a little sponsorship from them. It's not nothing like, I don't get like, you know, free stuff and snap of the fingers, but I mean, they definitely helped me out. Big into canvas. I got like almost 8-9 sets of that stuff just because I get such a good deal.
Nice.
And I mean, anyone could do it. They just have to fill out the thing on the website, you know. I got that. I got the SM10 helmet. That's my favorite helmet. I was wearing a rye for a while, but that was kind of another thing that I just kind of took from my dad. He loves a rye.
Yep.
I think that's something he gets from like Flat Track and Supermoto.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they were always, you know, there's a couple of helmets that have always sort of set the standard, right? And then everybody else is just like, how do we get close? How do we stay close?
Yeah.
So one of the things I talk about every week and all the time when I have a microphone is I always try to remind people to buy their parts and accessories from local dealers because it just helps the local economy. You know, you can always find stuff cheaper online, right? You can always find stuff cheaper at the warehouses. You can find stuff cheaper on all these clearance houses and stuff, but it doesn't help your local dealers stay in business. And a lot of people talk about price. You know, a lot of times you can get them to match the prices and everything else. But so what are your thoughts on people buying stuff, you know, from the local dealers? Are you driving people to local dealers down there? And because most of the time the dealers have all the best gear. You can try it all on, you get custom fit, everything else, you know. Otherwise, when you're buying, you know, what are your experiences from buying in store versus maybe buying something online?
So, I mean, out by where we're at, we don't really have too many local dealers. So I can see why someone out here especially would be like, all right, let's just go online. I can just get it shipped to me instead of driving an hour out to St. Louis or, you know, wherever the local store is. But, you know, whenever I was out in Donaldson's, that's where I'd go all the time, especially out in St. Louis. I mean, you know, they had everything. And it's not like, obviously you can go online and get some really good stuff, but I mean, you can't really argue with some of the stuff they got there because they always got deals going on and all this stuff. And it's really nice helping them out just because they're local.
Well, and the other thing too is every boot is shaped different, fits different. You got to try them on. You got to try them on with you know, with the pants and everything else. But especially the helmets, because the helmets are all so different.
Yeah,
finding the right shape, the right size. Get, you know, some of them, a lot of them, like you mentioned, you know, the Arai and Showy and stuff like that. You know, a lot of times you can exchange the cheek pads. So you get the right size helmet, you change out the cheek pads, you get a custom fit, which means it fits better, which also means it's safer. So we always encourage people, when possible, buy local. So, you know, buy your parts, accessories, and riding gear from your local dealerships when possible. and not from some obscure social media seller, not from the bargain bin, online clearinghouses. Buy local, buy local, buy local. Your local dealership supports the sport, support the riders, support the events, and keep the entire motorcycle economy healthy. Support the shops that support you. So that's my soapbox.
There you go.
Cool, man. Colton, hey, thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. I love your story. Tell mom and dad I said hello, and I'll get you a copy of this. I'll send you a link so you can share it on all your social medias and stuff. But thanks for hanging out. Good luck this year on the Yamaha, and man, have a good time at Supercross. It's gonna be a blast. And then the next race after that is Nashville. That's not too far from you as well.
Yeah, it's not. I know a lot of people who's going out there too, so I might take a road trip.
Hit your ride with Rippin'.
Yep.
All right. Well, hang on. We'll wrap up here. We'll wrap up here in just a second. For everybody else, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thanks to my guest Colton Pursey. Good luck this year, and good luck with everything, sponsorship and everything else. If you want to sponsor Pursley, just find them at cpursley43 on Instagram, and or Colton Pursley on some of the other social media platforms. So thanks a lot. We appreciate you being on with us. This has been Exhaust Noise Podcast right here on Cycle Vision Network, presented by Team MCC, JL Insurance, AMSOIL, and Two Brothers Roundhouse. Thanks for riding along with us, everyone. Gear up, head out, and have a safe ride, everybody.